Denver wins the game. Minnesota goes down in the Sunday night game, and that ends the NFL's longest winning streak at 5 games. So the Vikings now in the losers column, and the Broncos, the Denver Broncos, back to 500 at 5-5. They gave up that 70-burger to the Dolphins earlier this year, but the Denver Broncos now own the NFL's longest winning streak. Broncos have now won 4 straight. The better story, though, is in the losing locker room, so that is where we are going to begin. We're going to start out talking about the Minnesota side of things. They haven't lost in a while, but now they have with Joshua Dobbs as they go down. So who gets the blame? Let's play the blame game. Who gets the blame, Juicy Lucy, for the Vikings as they go down in this game? So I've got tax-deductible, Frank Sinatra, and restrictor plates. We're going to combine all of these things together, and we are going to make your own lake, because everyone that plays for the Vikings get their own lake. Although I think they all like Lake Minnetonka. That's their favorite lake because they're the Love Boat back in the day. All right, so Joshua Dobbs. We start with Joshua Dobbs, and we finish with Joshua Dobbs in this game. Now, you could say there's other people involved, but Dobbs, the Pastronaut, feel-good story, chicken soup for the soul story, Joshua Dobbs doing his thing. He had the mile-high malfunction in this particular game. And you knew early on, first Viking possession, fumble! Yeah. And what do we always say? Most games are lost, they're not won. The vast majority of the time, it's systemic incompetence that cost the team a victory rather than some amazing, great play. And Dobbs had been pretty good, all things considered, a couple games in. But the Sunday night game, a textbook example of most games are lost, as Joshua Dobbs giveth and Joshua Dobbs taketh away. As he gave you some hope and he took the football away and gave it to the other team. Problematic. In this game, he lost a fumble and threw an interception. You toss in Alexander Madison. He's a running back for the Minnesota Vikings. He also fumbled! And this made the Viking performance a red kettle performance. Now, what does that mean, a red kettle performance? The Vikings hand-delivered. It is the holiday season. Thanksgiving's coming up, a few days away. The holiday season hand-delivered the game to the Broncos like a tax-deductible donation, like a nice tax-deductible donation to the United Way or whatever charity, Salvation Army, you name it. Here you go. You get the game. We're good. We don't need the game. And when you look a little bit deeper, things even out, right? The law of averages, things even out, and it's almost always the case. The Minnesota Vikings last season, in close games, played 11 close games. The Vikings were 11-0 in those games. It was remarkable. So you say, okay, what do we got now? Well, the Vikings this season have been in a NFL-high 10 close games. You know what the Vikings' record is? 5-5. So last year they were 11-0 in these games. Now they're 5-5, which is where you're supposed to be. Yeah, win a couple, you lose a couple, it evens out. Well, last year it didn't even out. This year it's evened out for the Vikings. So they're 5-5. Now on the Denver side of things, as we go to the Broncos side, the Broncos have now won 4 straight. And you know what that means? A lot of smoochy for Sean Payton. Oh, the Broncos! All those same people that were burying Sean Payton are now slobbering all over Sean Payton. The very same people that, Sean Payton should go back to Fox and all that. Now they're, we love you. See, I'm not slobber guy, so I'm not that guy. I'm not. But the question is, how has Sean Payton been able to turn the sails on the Broncos ship away from the triangle of doom, which is what they were going towards? So how's he done it? So Denver, are they playing better? Yes, they're playing better. Am I convinced that the Broncos have arrived? No, I am not convinced of that. But if you ask, it's rather simple. You saw Benny versus the Penny this weekend. Boy, do we hope you do. You did watch that. Man, that would be great if you watched it. But we mentioned on the TV show that the Broncos coming into this game had won a bunch of games in a row. But the main thing here, it's Frank Sinatra sang a song back in his day, the musical Guys and Dolls. And Luck Be a Lady. And in this case, Lady Luck on the side of the Broncos. You look at these 4 wins. Go back to a statement we made earlier in the monologue. Most games are lost and not won. The Broncos have been receptive to the gifts from other teams. If you go back point by point, week 7, when this began against the Green Bay Packers, it was, I think, a 2-point game, if I remember correctly. The Packers had the ball, matriculating the ball down the field. All they needed was a field goal in the mile-high altitude to win the game. And Jordan Love, what did he do? Yeah, he pooped his pants right there. There were skid marks on his pants. Jordan Love threw an interception, and the game went to the Broncos, a game-breaking interception. Now, week 8, that was the Mahomes creepy crud game. Mahomes had the flu, didn't play well. Now, it just happened he happened to have the flu in a game against the Broncos. So that worked out. That's luck. That's Lady Luck on the side of the Broncos. Then we have the bye week. After the bye week, week 10, Buffalo, Josh Allen and friends. They have 2 interceptions, 2 fumbles, giving the game to the Broncos. And now here again, week 11, the Minnesota Vikings saying, hey, we want to be like those other teams. Here's the game. Take the game. Take the game. Joshua Dobbs and friends, 2 fumbles and an interception. And in other words, while it is nice the Broncos are winning, if this is how they have to win, it is not sustainable. There's no way this can continue. You're going to run into teams that don't turn the ball over. It's not like these are all forced errors by the Broncos defense all of a sudden. So that's part of it. Now, the last word here. Thumbs up or thumbs down, thumbs up or thumbs down, that Russell Wilson's comeback story is now complete because the Broncos have the NFL's longest winning streak and they just beat the Minnesota Vikings on Sunday night. So there's this sense that the whole thing is proper now, prim and proper for Russell Wilson. So, again, thumbs up or thumbs down, has Russell Wilson's comeback story now been completed with the victory over the Vikings? So I'm going to go thumbs down. I'm going thumbs down on that. Don't want to be a prisoner of the moment. Will not be a prisoner of the moment. Not going to happen. Not going to be the old prisoner of the moment. Now, here's the thing. Russell Wilson, up until this game, had been a caretaker, a guardian custodian of the offense, where they didn't have him do much of anything lately, and it was working. So I'm not drinking the orange-flavored Kool-Aid here when it comes to Mr. Unlimited being confirmed as a bona fide star again. And here's why. He's still the $40 million guy. Right? So the expectations are supposed to be high. The salary means there's certain things that come along with that. And in this case, in this game, okay, fine. But if you look at what he did last season and compare it to this season, well, sure, he looks like John Elway in his prime. Better than Elway in his prime. But in this game, Sean Payton did open things up, and he took the restrictor plates off the Russell Wilson mobile. And there had been, and we had the numbers to back it up, that he was near the bottom in pass attempts over the last month as the Broncos were winning these games. But Russell Wilson, in the game Sunday night, had a season-high 35 pass attempts. It's the most passes he's thrown in a game this season for the Broncos. And he completed 27 of them, and the numbers were good. Only had 1 touchdown. If you want to nitpick, that's not good enough. Only 1 touchdown. But solid performance by Russell Wilson, and he had gone 5 straight games with less than 200 yards passing, because he was just the caretaker of the offense, and they didn't ask him to screw up, and they told him, don't screw up. But that was a step. I'm not going thumbs up. I'm still going thumbs down, but it was a step for Russell Wilson as he had that 10-play, 75-yard drive that resulted in the touchdown to Cortland Sutton, and that gave Denver the lead late in the game with little over a minute to go in the game. However, ultimately, the Broncos only scored 21 points, and their offense, based on not being given the football via turnover, there were 9 points off turnovers. So the Broncos offense, without getting the football via turnover from Minnesota, generated 12 points. Now, I didn't play in the NFL. I host an overnight show, so maybe I'm wrong on this, but I don't think that's good. 12 points without the points off the turnover? To me, that doesn't seem great. You're just being a jerk, Ben. You're just being a schmuck. No, I'm just calling it like it is. That's not a high-powered offense. Now, they won the game, great, and Lady Luck appears to be on the side of the Denver Broncos, at least in the near future, because you look ahead, the Broncos' longest winning streak in the NFL right now. They won 4 in a row. They've got the Browns, Texans, and Chargers up next. Those are all winnable games. Those are all games the Broncos should win and have a great chance of winning. So that gets you to 7 in a row. And now we really got something. But all you need is that one off performance. They got the Browns next in Denver with no quarterback. Then they play the Texans and C.J. Stroud, who's good for a couple of touchdowns every game and a couple of interceptions every game. We know what the Broncos do when the other team's quarterback throws interceptions. And then after that, the Chargers. Dysfunction junction. They just lost to Jordan Love. How embarrassing are the Chargers. God, it's such an embarrassing franchise.